Hello, hello. Um, this will be my second Tony Hawk's Underground tutorial video. This is going to be talking about something specific to this game, as far as I'm aware. It's probably the reason that this particular Tony Hawk game is my favorite. Well, it's a combination of things, but this is definitely a big reason. What I'm going to talk about today is air control and shuffling. This is not actually a great level to teach shuffling, especially since I'm not very practiced on it, but it is a good level to show air control. So normally in Tony Hawk, when you're just skating around, when you leave a grind, you really can only go three directions. You can go jump left, jump right, or you can just jump straight ahead. Of course, you can use the manual to like glue your stuff together, and this is like the old Tony Hawk game style of skating. Getting some Tony Hawk 1 in there with that wall ride. But this is pretty much how you start playing Tony Hawk, is like this. Well, I mean, you're not gonna play like this when you start, but notice that like I'm not even getting off my board. Like this is totally like playable stuff in an earlier game. Like if we were playing like THPS 4, you could probably do everything that I'm doing. I mean, the stage isn't in THPS 4, but it's just when you're playing like this, it's more about your knowledge of and your feel for where the three jump options are and which one is the best in each situation. So this is like some really basic skating. And while this is fun, and of course I like it because I've played every Tony Hawk game ever, it's not the most effective. What we want is we want to be floaty. We want to like control where we go. Like let's say I was right here on this rail, but I wanted to adjust to the left. Like I wanted to actually be over here for some reason. Like maybe I wanted to like grind here and then pop off here and do something insane, right? But I'm here. Maybe I just came through here, kind of unusual on the stage, but like I came through here, I come here, I want to get over, well, I guess I can just make that. What is a good example? Here to here? You can actually make that, but okay, what if you're going too fast? Right, you're going way too fast and you want to make that little shuffle to the corner. You're just going to overshoot it. Because I think your height is also a little bit affected by your speed, so you get a little bit higher up if you're going faster too. Like normally in the older games, you'd kind of like try to slow yourself down maybe, and so not jump around so much so you can make these little like corner shuffles. But this game just opens up a whole new can of worms. If you get off your board in midair, you can control your fall. You can make little adjustments left or right. You can make adjustments forward, but that's useless. You can make adjustments like forward but a little bit to the left, or like backwards and a little bit to the left, or backwards and a little bit to the right. If you do it from a straight jump, you actually go a little bit behind where you started to give you an idea of like the power of it. Because the game really wants you to go forward. You're on a fucking skateboard. So the fact that it can overcome this and actually go backwards shows you the power of it. And you can do this at any time. You see, in this game, you can go from being off your board into a grind. It's one of the first things that they teach you at the beginning of the game. You be off your board, go into a grind. You can get off your board in midair. So, if you get off your board in midair, you can grind again. But we just said earlier that if you're off your board in midair, you can actually change your angle. And this is extremely powerful. You pretty much can't miss jumps. Like, okay, yeah, if you're like a mile off, sure, but like you can't like accidentally miss that because you can just get off your board and adjust. And like notice how I'm even doing flip tricks and then just using just enough frames of the walking in air. It's like walking when you're off your board, but you're in the air. Anyway, there's just enough frames at the end of a flip trick to save you. Like every time that you see in my gamepad viewer that the right bumper is being hit on my Xbox controller, I'm playing the GameCube version on Dolphin right now, so it's just one button to get on and off your board. So whenever I hit that button, whenever I hit RB is when I'm getting off my board. I'm gonna just like skate around a little bit, and I want you to like just look at that button and see like how much I'm abusing this. Like, it's kind of insane. Pretty much every jump, unless I'm focused on something else like spinning. I just did it like 4 times in a row there. Just saved my fall. Shift over to the right so I can get up here. Use it here just to make sure that I'm lined up. Get onto this. Save myself and start using backwards momentum to fall down onto the rail. This is how you make insane lines in this game. This is the most powerful tool because, like, if you want to talk like, I guess like conversions in fighting games or something like that, this is the equivalent. You're going from one set line, which is what's possible without using this trick, just jumping left and right, and then you're adding all the little possibilities from getting off your board. You can make small adjustments, like you saw I went from this side to this side of this little like planter. You can make little adjustments if you need to. You can make big adjustments, like I don't even, it's insane. And getting a feel for this and using it all the time is like crucial to fully understanding the complexities and the depth of this game. So shuffling. If I'm going to do shuffling, I need to change stages. We're going to go back to Moscow. Moscow is the best shuffling level. The area right behind where you start, which I showed off a lot in my last video, is the pinnacle shuffling place. If you want to practice shuffling, just skate this area around the dome up to like the stairs. Down here isn't so useful, but you can do some nice drills here. Like if you're coming down here, something really good for practice, which will get you used to the width of that you can adjust with this, is these jumps. See, I can like, and it gets you a bunch of gaps too. It's really safe. It's really easy. Doing stuff like that over and over and over again to practice will help you get used to getting off your board in midair to do this. So, as you can see here, if you're looking at my gamepad, pretty much every single jump that I make, rail to rail, well, not over here because it's way easier, but like when I'm up here, every single one I'm getting off my board, even if it's just for like frames. You can hit the get off my board button like 1 frame before the grind, and you can still grind fine, you won't bail. So even if it's like the most minor little adjustment, there's no loss to doing it. There's no reason not to. It makes like I fucked it up. You can shuffle onto the rail there. I'm gonna try it again. Notice that sometimes when I'm doing these shuffles left and right here, I'm actually combining the ability to move in midair with the left jump, the normal standard one. If you don't, then you can't quite make it. Yeah, you can't quite make it. But if you're jumping to the left and then you add to that the speed that you gain from getting off your board in midair, that's what makes those little jumps possible. There's also things like if you hold down left and down right doing this, like it actually pulls you back. And this can slow you down. This is one of the few ways that you can, like, in a grind combo, slow yourself down on command. Like, if I wanted to take this really slow. Do you see this? So, it's also the only way that you can really control your forward speed in the middle of a grind combo. It's not so useful for me anyway, because I line up all my jumps on full speed. See, I got the shuffle there. Because I line up at full speed, it's not quite so useful to be able to slow myself down. In fact, it's actually a hindrance sometimes. But it's still a tool. Sometimes you might want it. It gets some use. Well, we're on Moscow, so I can show you one place where it's useful. We're gonna come over here. That's fine. Come over here. So if you go into here, you can abuse this diagonal back to stay here and jump between these two ledges as much as you possibly can, and that gets you a ton of multiplier. So it's good. Some other more complicated techniques, some of these I don't even really know how to explain because I just do them. So something that you can do is you can get off your board and then you can enter in manual inputs in midair, and it'll put you back on your board and put you in a kind of a strange state. When you're in this state, you can't do flip tricks, you can't do grab tricks, you can't get back off your board. I don't even think you can spin. Well, you can spin, okay. So the only thing you can do is spin. Because you can't get back off your board, you can't actually change the direction of your fall anymore. So why is this useful? Well, you can use it to lock in your jump. If you got the jump angle just right and you don't want to fuck it up, then you can like, you can be like, actually this is fine, and then you can like continue there and do whatever other inputs you want. So it's good for that. It also allows you to, not like that. There are places where you can use it to turn around. I almost got it there. But if you combine the ability that caveman, it's called caveman when you get off your board mid combo. If you caveman and then go into a manual, and the way that you're facing in your manual is at least at 0 forward momentum, you can't be going backwards still. How do I explain this? Okay, so if I jump in I'm like this, I can turn around and go backwards. Notice that I jumped off in that direction. So normally I'd land here and keep going there. This is one of the few ways that you can spin around. Well, that's one way to do it actually. But this is one of the few ways that you can spin around in midair before re-landing on a grind. So you go off, you get off your board, and you input the opposite direction, or the direction that you want to go when you land, and then you do the manual inputs in midair. And you get back on your board in midair, and the game forgets which direction you were going originally. Normally it remembers, and even if you like go really slow, it'll still put you in the forward direction, just add some speed so you're moving. But it'll forget if you do that, if you go get off your board and then go back into a manual. So it just goes off of the raw speed that you're moving and the direction that you're facing. I don't know which one takes priority. I think it's way you're facing is what's checked first, and then if you are moving in that direction, then you land in that direction and start grinding that way. Is this making any sense? I feel like I'm doing a really bad job explaining this, but it is a way that you can, if you go off of a vert in particular and you're like, oh, I'm going the wrong way, you can fix it and go the opposite way. I'm also screwing it up, which is not helping. The problem is I'm like that. You can be like, oh, I wanted to go this way, and you can go the other way. But that's really advanced, and I don't think I've ever tried to explain that before. And it's fringe. So, ultimately, what is the point of getting back on your board before landing? Peace of mind, safety. Because even if you miss the grind, because you're always trying to go for grinds in this game. Even if you miss the grind, you did manual inputs, so you'll land in a manual anyway, so it's safe. Pretty much everything here is safe, because when you're off your board, obviously, you don't bail when you land, no matter what. And if you go back into a manual, usually that's safe. So these are all like totally safe techniques that you can use. And so when you start to like mix in this ability to shuffle around and get off your board in midair, and it's totally safe, then it does nothing but improve your ability at the game. Because if you fuck it up, then it's actually safer than fucking up a normal jump where you don't get off your board at the end. That's how you can see, like, it looks like I'm getting off my board at the very last moment a lot of times. If I like fuck up, like here I'm gonna be like, oh, I fucked up. No, actually I was off my board way early. So, and I'm always off my board, so if that happens, then I'm already off my board when I land, and it's totally safe. So the one thing you need to worry about when you use the shit out of this is now your run energy is going to be a problem. It doesn't tick in the air, so that's another benefit. But as soon as you touch the ground, if you're still on foot, then it'll tick. And you can't like jump again and untick it. So it's safe until you hit the ground. So while this is technically like, it's not going to end your combo if you like mess up, it'll tick into your walking time. So that's something to keep track of. And it just depends on your ability to save, whether or not you're going to lose a bunch of time or just a little bit of time. Saving in this game is really complicated, and there's no way to give a good guide on it. Because every different possible situation that you could possibly fuck up and then need to save is just too numerous. But it's something, this is like, getting off your board is already one of the most powerful saving techniques that's ever been added to any Tony Hawk game. And you add on top of that the fact that this game doesn't have like the American Wasteland roll, and the timer always ticks at the same speed, so you can like tap into it and leave, and it doesn't really tick that much time. Added together with the fact that it gives you air control, makes this extremely powerful. It's just great, and it feels great, and it's super fun to use. So Shuffling, I don't know if there's anything I can give generally as advice other than just the techniques that I laid out. You're gonna need to practice. I mean, I know that's like stereotypical, but like you're gonna need to go to every stage and kind of feel it out. There's a lot of places where you can like add in little shuffles. And from my perspective as someone who skates for style, shuffling looks really cool around corners. Way better than... And you saw that that was the glitch that I was talking about earlier where, I don't know if it's a glitch so much, but where you can like change directions. I totally just like changed directions in midair and went up this with like a pretty fast speed. Like that's the kind of cool stuff that you can do. It's just hard to explain it and like do it on the fly because it just kind of happens on accident. Or if not on accident, then not consciously, I guess. But this stage has some cool shuffles. Like around here, there's some shuffles, like you can shuffle over here and get out. So know which walls you can wall ride and which ones you can't. You can't wall ride that wall. I didn't know that until just now. But you can like shuffle around. This one's a pretty cool one. I'm gonna come from this angle and show you what I mean. So normally on that corner, if you're following this grind on the ledge, it heads left. And if you jump up to here, then it takes you right. But the way that it puts you is like on this side. Maybe you want to be on this side. So the best way to deal with that is just to get over here. Like let's say you're coming from this direction. You can shuffle up here and then shuffle back. That is not possible without getting off your board. Like 100%, I'm sure it's not possible. So little things like that. It just lets you get very specific, very detailed lines. Unlike the last thing where we were doing balancing and I said, you know, take a hammer to it, like just jump a lot and go big angles and it'll work. But here, you can really be precise and get exactly what you want from every jump. It's really fun, really powerful. Practice the shit out of this. Go do this section in Moscow and just like feel your way around. And then whenever your combo leads you out here, just practice doing these little shuffles. And that'll help you a lot more than you'd expect. Just getting a feel for like the width that you can take. There's also another good spot to do that, which is the bridge on Jersey. You can shuffle across the entire bridge between rails, which you can't normally do, just doing a normal jump. So that's also a good way to show the width that you can get. Anyways, I think that's it for this one. Let me know if I explained any of that well, or if it made any sense at all. I'm not scripting these or anything, I just kind of decided that I wanted to make them, because I've been playing this game forever, and I know a lot of random little shit, and feels like the right time to share it with people.